Get out and vote. Tomorrow is election day. Let your voice be heard. It's our civic duty as American citizens to get out there and vote. Now, I never believed that in the past. This is my first time voting in 44 years. Never been registered to vote. Never cared about voting. I was the kind of person that thought my vote didn't matter. If I put a vote in, who cares? They got the Electoral College. The popular choice doesn't matter. I mean, look what happened with Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump lost the popular vote and won the Electoral College votes and was the president. So that's how I wrote it for my whole adult life, is I'm not going to vote because my voice doesn't matter. Another reason I never voted is my life, my life was a disaster for several decades. I was a drug addict, I was homeless, I was jobless. The last thing I cared about was getting out and voting. Most of the time I didn't even know who was the president of the United States. I was so far gone. However, straightened my life out several years ago, in recovery now, a productive member of society, living like regular adults should live. And still, once that happened, that was back 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago. So when Donald Trump was first running for president, I despised this man. I was just like, how can a egotistical, just bombastic reality TV show host become the president of the greatest country in the world and not be and still have our country taken seriously? And listening to the guy, and he's definitely rough around the edges when he speaks, to say the least. There is a lot of criticisms you can have about Donald Trump, the way things he says, his social media, Twitter stuff. And I was listening to people around me talking about Trump. I was listening to social media talking about Trump. I was listening to mainstream media talking about Trump. And I thought this guy was the devil himself. I was like, how the hell did this even happen? This guy's going to destroy our country. I had no idea. Well, I decided to become a free thinker and stop listening to people and the media and see what was going on for myself. And I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Hillary. I never voted, like I said. Once I started looking into things, and it really started actually the beginning of this year, when the pandemic hit, when the BLM riots started, protests, whatever you want to call them, when all that started, I started looking into things. And I really, really, really started to see how the deck was so stacked against Trump, how the media was playing this, putting out this narrative. And, you hear Trump say things like the very fine people hoax. Well, when you listen to the whole tape, that squashes that argument. He never said that about certain groups, so that whole argument was squashed. Then the whole Russiagate, and that came out where that was squashed. I'm like, what is happening? Then Obamagate, and they have papers and document, all this stuff was coming out, and I started listening to other people. I started listening to a lot of Tim Pool. He's a liberal. He did come out saying he was going to vote for Trump. And basically, the way I see it is exactly the way Tim Pool sees it. Is, to me, it looks like the left, the Democrats, have completely lost the plot. There's so much insanity going on the left, the mainstream media, social media. I don't see that, and I don't consider myself a liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, any of that. But I just started seeing the truth. I started seeing these Black Lives Matter protesters, rioters, Antifa. I never paid any attention to this stuff. I started seeing the violence and the hate and the racism that these people themselves were spewing. How all these things were coming out being said about police officers, that there was just no proof that the police officers were doing anything to these people based on the color of their skin. It just wasn't proof. And then when you see a video of the same thing happening to a white person, it's like they don't see it. And then you got Chicago, you got record numbers of black young men dying in Chicago at the hands of other young black men. And why isn't Black Lives Matter throwing a fit about that? Why aren't they going to march in the inner city saying, you guys got to stop killing each other? It's enough with the gang banging. But that's not happening. So the narrative started to come together. And I was really shocked. I was shocked that my beliefs just a year ago had completely flipped. I was at a point where I had a few real successful e-commerce businesses online, and one of them I was selling, I had a shirt, it was kind of Second Amendment stuff, and I had a shirt that I had Trump's face on a picture of Uncle Sam saying something about, I want you to support the Second Amendment. And it was selling, but I despise Trump so much. I'm like, this morally, this doesn't feel good. I can't stand Donald Trump. I don't want to make money off of his face on one of my t-shirts. I don't like that. So stop selling it. That's how much I disliked him. There is a lot of criticism that can be said. There are a lot of things you can criticize about Donald Trump, a lot. And I'm not one of these guys that's going to throw on a red MAGA hat, strap a giant Trump flag to my car and drive around screaming Trump 2020 on a loudspeaker or anything. But once I started looking into who Joe Biden was, who Kamala Harris was, what was going on with these Democratic-run cities, people like AOC and Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, started looking at what these people are doing, Gavin Newsom in California, Mario Cuomo in New York. These are all Democratic-run cities. These are all Democratic leaders. Nancy Pelosi, I was horrified. And then I'm looking at these people so I started looking for all the right-leaning people, the Republicans, conservative. I started looking for the horrible things they were saying and the violence they were committing and these, whatever you want to call it, white supremacist groups hiding around every corner that they're talking about, causing all this. It's not there. It's just not there. It's all a false narrative. It's not real. It's not real. Have there been peaceful protests with BLM? Absolutely, 100%. There's been, over the summer, there's been thousands of peaceful protests. Have there been a large number of violent, destructive, vicious protests? Absolutely. And the denial of that in the mainstream media, the denial of that from the Democratic Party to call anybody out. When Biden said in the debate that Antifa was just an idea, it wasn't real, and you got Antifa rioting in Portland, Oregon for over 140, 150 nights, like what? All right, so, and then you start seeing Biden saying things like he's not for banning fracking, but then I just saw a video yesterday where him and Kamala Harris said no more fracking, no new fracking, we're gonna get rid of it. I said, what is happening? Then this Hunter Biden thing comes along, the laptop comes out, Giuliani releases all this stuff. I'm like, oh God, what are they going to say about this? Well, first, the mainstream media tried to play it off as a Russian hoax. Come on. Enough with the Russian hoax, enough with the white supremacists around every corner, enough with the BS narrative, enough with the systemic racism, enough with the oppression. Listen, it's nonsense. Americans do not like a rigged deck. We don't like a stacked game. And the game has been so stacked against Donald Trump. And once you realize it, once you find out what's really going on, so Biden comes out and says, oh, I've never talked to my son again about any of his business dealings overseas. Well, your son's business partner, your business partner is saying that that's a 100% lie. The whole fracking thing is a 100% lie. I mean, you go on your website, it talks about the Second Amendment restrictions, it talks about the Green New Deal, all this stuff that Joe Biden is just blatantly lying about. Like, what kind of behavior? Is it like narcissistic behavior or something? I don't know. Is just where you come out. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them. And I don't see conservatives, I don't see Trump supporters, I don't see Republicans just making a video where they're screaming and freaking out about Supreme Court justices where they're crying and oh my God, our democracy's in danger if Trump gets, he's a fascist, they're all fascists. This is crazy. You got people like Don Lemon and Maxine Waters saying that they're getting rid of all the Trump supporters out of their lives, like it's a drug addict saying, okay, I got to get these people out of my life that I used to run with. I can't be around them or I'll end up messing my life up. It's like them saying, oh, we got to get Trump supporters out of our lives. What is that? I can honestly say Okay, I watch Tim Pool, I watch Ben Shapiro, I watch Officer Tatum, Brandon Tatum, ABL, Anthony Brian Logan, and I can say these guys, to me, they have so much common sense. They're calm, cool, collected. These aren't the kind. But then I watch these other, like, Democrats, left wing, and these people, they just, nothing but name calling, nothing but hatred being spewed, nothing but nonsense. Like, it's just so, to me, it all comes down to common sense, and I don't see these people on the left, the liberals, the Democrats, I don't see any common sense there. I see a lot of anger, hate. I see a need for power, a need to control what people say. Twitter's shutting down accounts if they don't like what the people say, if it goes against what the left's narrative. Facebook's doing the same thing. That's a rigged game right there, and I don't like that at all. I'm not playing that game at all. So, it's not really a walkaway story for me because I was never registered, never voted as a Democrat. However, my family's all Democrats. The people are, a lot of people I know are Democrats. And I just, but they're all the ones that watch mainstream media. They don't think for themselves when it comes to these kind of things. And I've always been that kind of person. I've always marched to the beat of my own drum. So, the only conclusion I could come with is I love the United States. I think our government has failed us in so many ways in recent years. I think our government's a disaster. But compared to other countries around the world, the United States is a great country. I love capitalism. It gives everybody a chance to do whatever they want in life. You just got to get out there and do it. You got to have a vision for yourself. You got to work towards it, and you got to do it. I don't want some socialist, communist, Marxist country here like all these people want. I don't want people to say that if I say something that goes against their beliefs, that it's hate speech and I'm going to go to jail for it. And I'm not going to call people names, but if I happen to say something that, a transgender person finds offensive, and I'm not trying to be offensive, that it's hate speech, that no, I'm not a hateful person. I'm a kind person. I love everybody. I respect everybody until you give me a reason not to. And I honestly think that because the way the left has acted, because of these riots, constant vile hate speech being thrown, we're so lucky we have a police, the United States has police officers, or we would be, and yeah, there are some corrupt police officers. I'm not going to say every police officer is good. I've had some bad run-ins with police officers over the years, but these people don't know how grateful they are. These same people that are screaming to abolish the police and ACAB and all these other horrible things they're saying, if they were at home sleeping and some crackhead broke into their house with a gun or a knife or something, the first thing they would do was call 911. I guarantee it. I would bet my life on it. But they're the ones out there throwing bricks at the cops. It's nonsense. It's got to stop. We need law and order. Joe Biden isn't even, calling out Antifa, so obviously he's got no plan to get rid of them. We need law and order. We need to keep America great. We need to get rid of these career politicians, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, even Mitch McConnell, the knucklehead Republican. He's got to go. The guy's a clown. We definitely need to restructure our government somehow. We need to have police reform, absolutely. But I am not down with the way the country, with the way, within the United States that the left wants it to go. It's just not how I am. My fiance feels the same way. She's never voted. She's all 100% Trump this year. It seems like our only way out of this mess. And people say about the pandemic, how he's handled the pandemic. It's a novel corona. I mean, nobody knows what this was. It's all brand new. Nobody knew what was happening. The way I see it is, yeah, he did that thing with Bob Woodward and said some stupid things, but I mean, he shut down travel, was called names for it. You had the Democrats dancing in the streets of Chinatown. Well, come on down to Chinatown. He shut down travel. If you go back and look at some videos, you will see all these Democratic governors saying, yes, the federal government did a great job helping us, getting us the supplies we needed, making sure we're all set with, hospital rooms and supplies, this, that, and the third. And it was the governors and the mayors of these cities that had the responsibility. Donald Trump, I think, said, okay, I'm going to let these states handle it. I don't know what more else he could have done. Mask mandates, I don't know. I'm not for that. These strict lockdowns. No, I'm not for destroying the country for something that has a 99.9, whatever the number is, survival rate. I think it's nonsense to destroy a country, an economy, for something like that. I know several people that have got this, and they're fine. They came out of it, even if they got sick at all, they came right out of it. To me, it's just, I don't know, I'm not even going to get into that. I don't want to get in trouble from YouTube, but, all right, so I've rambled on here for, 15 minutes. That's my, I guess, hashtag walkaway story, or kind of never really walked away because I was never a Democrat, but that is where and I consider myself to be a common sense, facts, honest person, and a lot of the people that I see that are voting for Trump are the same. I know a lot of black people that are voting for Trump. I know a lot of very successful people, Jewish, Asian, Hispanic, that are voting for Trump, successful, very smart, a lot of common sense. And on the other side, I just don't happen to see that same, there's some successful people. I just don't see the same common sense. And I don't know. I'm just gonna stick towards the side that's common sense, that is rooting for our country, that wants to get our country back on track, not that wants to change everything about this country, not that wants to tear our statues down and be okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with demonizing the police. There are some bad police officers out there, but there are a lot of great police officers out there, and I stand behind them 100%. Put their lives on the line every day for people they don't even know, and this is how they get treated. Come on, we have to do better as citizens. We have to start taking personal responsibility for our actions. I used to blame the cops for everything. I used to blame everyone else for everything. I was a victim. I was running around the streets, getting high, stealing things, robbing people, assaulting people. I was a victim. Everybody else's fault. No, you take personal responsibility for actions. You want to commit crimes? You want to do things, you're going to have a run-in with the police. If you want to fight back, bad things are going to happen. It's just the way it goes. So these riots got to stop. These crazy protests, riots, whatever you want to call them, civil unrest, it's for nothing. It's absolutely for nothing. There's no reason for it. So the only way I see out is getting Trump in there for 4 more years. And I pray to God that happens. And that's just where I stand. I'm not afraid to say it. A lot of people are. But I've always been the kind of person to speak my truth. That's my truth. And I hope that you are strong enough to speak your truth too. If you don't, I understand. You get demonized by friends, family. You get bullied on social media, which to me, none of that stuff matters. Like I said, I march to the beat of my own drum. You want to bully me, you want to demonize me, I'm cool with it. Just don't try to physically assault me. So that's that. Trump 2020 on my end. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Either way, life's going to go on. I'm going to continue being a kind, happy, successful person. And I hope you all feel the same way. Just remember, this isn't the end of the world. Just be kind to yourself, be kind to others, help people out. Take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And just do your best to lend a hand to make this world a better place. All right, guys, that's it for now. Stay safe out there. It's going crazy. Peace.